What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm Ludwig Kaiser, Kaiser Ludwig,
Kaiser Ludwig.
which is it? And with me, as always, is Giovanni Vinci, Lee Brown. What's up, Lee?
Well, I appreciate the shout out. You know, I would love to be Das Ring General,
Oh,
Gunther,
not yet. Stay humble.
but I've got a hot take for you.
You and I are
Okay.
just the croonies in Imperium. I don't think we're that quite that level yet to be Gunther. Maybe Merrick's can be our Gunther, you know?
Oh, there you go. There you go. And let's see, that makes what? DJ's Cody, Goldie's Rhea,
They could all be the New Day just to get
Benny's
run
Roman,
together. You know, Goldie and Dave
right?
and Professor.
Cesaro, CM Punk.
We could feud with the New Day.
Okay, who's Professor? Who's Professor out of these?
Kofi for sure.
Kofi Mania?
Yeah, the serious one.
Nice. Well,
Woods for sure. Just the fun guy.
Oh, okay.
And Goldie, the powerhouse. Just Big E. Goldie. Yeah.
I was giving her Rhea, but okay.
No. Well, in the
you're sticking with the triangle thing there. Yeah.
And DJ would have to be the Maverick, Logan Paul. He would be,
oh, of course,
looking on to this feud from a side, commentating about it. So
yeah, and then taking the Pulse Championship, just running. I love it.
and then of course we have I'm trying to think. I don't want to leave anybody. I know there's Benny, and I know there's Cesaro, and maybe they're like the foreign announce table or something like that. I don't know. Watching ringside. Oh, Corey Graves, and yeah. Anyway, I was trying to get everybody at the same ring, everybody ringside, and
for the Royal Rumble.
Furco would be the bell keeper. Furco would be the ding 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 ding,
or the Nick Aldis of the equation.
I didn't leave anybody out, did I? Just like make sure
I don't know.
Audit my. Okay, never mind. I can't.
Yeah, behind the scenes talk. Anytime I start to mention the content creators, I immediately have this wall go up in my brain where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget someone, and it's just like the worst feeling ever, because I'm like, I love all these guys. I would hate to.
I guess we gotta count T-Unit as well. I said DJ.
Oh, there you go.
Included in the team. Yeah.
Okay.
So the same conundrum. My wife watches these award shows, and they get up to thank. They're like, oh no, I'm forgetting somebody, and you can tell they're they just don't want to do that. Rattling off a list of names,
right,
is it's painstakingly hard work, and you don't want anybody to feel devalued. But you know who we hope feels valued is you, the WWE Champions community, because today is January 18th. There's still, I think, 15 plus days in our 2-month long contest. Crazy. And many of you have maxed the MLC.
Yep.
As I've read on Discord and Facebook and different things happening around the community, one of the most exciting things to read is I maxed my first MLC.
Right.
That is so cool. And so we hope you feel valued in this 2-month span. We hope you got that chase character. If you're in a lower league, we hope you cashed in those coins on a superstar that you're excited about. Maybe Bret Hart,
yeah.
Bloodline Jimmy. I love playing with Bloodline Jimmy. He's one of the most fun. And hopefully you're able to shard recruit Giovanni Vinci. Can lower leagues shard recruit Vinci?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of the trick is it's harder in lower leagues, because think about, you have, instead of having 47, which I think is the number for us, 47 milestones on yours, they have anywhere from 17 to 30 something. And so you lose some of the rewards of those other bags. So it is possible. It's just more difficult.
Okay.
So you always want to be getting towards your highest league possible.
So I kind of brought us right into the MLC. You got any updates for us? You got anything going on in the game that you're just excited about?
Yeah, well, let me share one thing that kind of ties with our opening, and then I'll go into that. But the ranking of the technician team known as Imperium in this
Oh
game,
yeah,
right?
all three, the
Yeah,
triad.
because all
Yeah.
three are technicians. So you were given Ludwig Kaiser. You were able to potentially recruit Giovanni Vinci, and then there's this other character that's usually the more rare, right? Gunther, who is like the more premium theoretically.
Was he
So,
a weekend character at once upon a time, or where did he
oh
pop?
yeah,
Lutz or
yeah,
what?
yeah. He was well, he was last in 2023, I think like first quarter, second quarter, something like that. But yeah, he
Congratulations
was
to
a
Gunther,
weekend
by the way.
character.
He just recently had their first child and took a leave of absence from WWE TV to be
Oh.
dad, a stay-at-home dad with his wife. And now he is back. They called it the return of Gunther, and most people are like, "What wasn't he? Why is he returning from?" And that's what. So
Yeah, well, that's good to know, and congratulations, sir. I appreciate that.
the baby ring general.
The baby general. So if you were to guess of a ranking, so to speak, in the community, you have a free character that's given to everybody. You have a chase character that is theoretically more rare. You know, this time around something happened and hopefully lots of people get him, but theoretically more rare and more premium. And then you have a weekend character that is premium, right? Any of the S tier weekend characters are meant to be the more premium, the ones that you have to spend to get. If
Right.
you were to guess a ranking of those three in game, not talking about in WWE TV, but in game, how do you think you'd rank them in terms of how overall good they are?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, the rarest being the spend would be Gunther one, and then the
Okay.
chase would be two, and then the freebie would be three. I mean, that's at least that's what traditional Scopely logic would tell me,
Yep.
based on my, I don't know, multiple years of observations of how characters are introduced to the community.
So here's my take now, because I just, if you watched my talent up video, I
Chat
finally
rate.
got what I needed to take Gunther's 6 star. I had a 100% gym damage belt on him, which was the one you get in the prize wall, right? The month-long or 2-month-long prize wall for
This was
having
a great, let me just
Kaiser.
say, this is still a great MLC. Like
Oh yeah.
when I'm ranking the best MLCs that I can remember, like this one's probably going to be in the conversation now.
Interesting. Well, we
Yeah.
could go down that rabbit in just a
Yeah.
sec. I like that. But so anyway, I took Gunther's 6 star. I had a 100% gym damage strap on him. Have Goldberg, the streak begins for his Juggernaut gems. All of the tricks, right, that would make him hit hard. I would say he is now the most disappointing character I've ever YOLO'd in my game. He does not
Are you
hit
serious?
anyway.
I did
Yeah.
not know this
Oh yeah, like
information.
that's why I
Oh
didn't prep you with this. I didn't
no.
want you to know coming in. So I heard Goldie,
Oh
Merrick's, and DJ on different streams say, "Oh, I got Gunther. I just can't really figure him out. I don't like his play style." And
yeah.
me being like this whatever that I wanted to be in it, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the one. I'm gonna figure him
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna make him great and all this."
I'll be the
And
one
like,
that takes the
ugh,
mankind showboat to 6 star and breaks the
right? Show
game.
him off to the community. That was a great move.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is one where if there was a fourth move, like you could do 4 moves instead of three,
Right.
he would be incredible. But all three of his moves, no matter which move set you build up, kind of build to something. But then there's not really a way, like either you can buff the gems or you can break a bunch of them, but you can't do both
Mhm.
because I mean, realistically, like for boss battle, I'm sure he would be amazing with multi stuff because I had him doing 30 to 40 multi, like 30 times multi gems all over the board, but you can only do a swipe. You can't like there's like and if you put in the move that allows you to break more gems, you have to take out the move that bumps them up
So
15x.
so potentially, and like I hear what you're saying, I'm sorry for your what feels like maybe wasted resources. Would he be
He's a good
Gunther's
coach.
due for a reworked move? Does he have one of the dual moves, like a reverse hardcore? Does he have
I
one of
think he
those?
does. I'd have to go back in and look. Like I say, I played with him. I was going to record a video. I may still, but I was going to record a video. I was going to say, here's how Gunther's awesome. I'll still do a 3-minute move set, but even for a 3-minute move set, it's hard. Like having the whole
Yeah.
board filled with like 30x multiplier gems and hitting for 2 million at 6 star. So like
Ooh.
Giovanni as the chase, I think he is arguably the best of the three technician
Oh,
characters, right?
triple yellow,
Ludwig
maybe?
is really good. Yeah, triple yellow, triple green for
Okay.
Giovanni. But triple green right now, I've got him 5 star silver. That's all the farther I've needed to take him. He's hitting 3 million at 5 star silver, triple green. Gunther is hitting 2 to 3 million 6 star bronze with 100% gem damage strap, with all of the tricks, with Goldberg, with 50 million multi gems on the board. I swear I'm not terrible at this game. I tried him 6 different ways and every one of them was
So
terrible.
maybe in the future, who knows? Maybe an Imperium plate or a new Entourage member or
Yeah.
reimagined moveset. But without those things, you're saying he's kind of a turd.
Yeah, I mean I'd say he's disappointing. Like
Yeah.
he's good enough, but like for a character you have to pay to chase. And I mean he's old, so lots of
I
people
think you
have
should
him.
make
Many
that
people
video
discovered
still.
this,
You should
but
make that video and say like I would even title it like is this the
right,
most disappointing superstar
character.
2020
Yeah.
or whatever.
So I've thought about that, not to give away part of the ending, but let me tell you what I did. I immediately took that 100% gem damage strap and I just said, "Give me this belt, Gunther, get out of here."
You
And I
reneged
stuck it
on your
on Zombie
deal
Dom, and Zombie Dom's doing 40 million.
with, and now that's with talk
100% gem
about your
damage strap.
talk about your loadout because like people are going to want to know well, how who's the
Oh,
train.
I'll show it in the video, but it's a pretty I mean, the biggest thing is
Oh,
you got to
okay,
have Zombie Ray. With
right.
Zombie Ray, you're good there. But I also didn't recognize until just recently. I'm gonna do a Feel the Power video on Zombie Dom because the baddest jacket, right? You do submission moves and it buffs your yellow gems 100%. So now I've got 100% gem damage strap, whereas before I only had the 20% from his original debut, like an October or two ago, and then now that 100% from the baddest jacket. So I'm doing 200%. And without those two things, he was still hitting in the 17 to 30 million range, depending on how many gems the opponent breaks. So now he's sitting in that 25 to 40 million range consistently every time. So talk about characters that have a lot of mileage on them. He's one of
Second
them.
life.
Ludwig, I would also say Ludwig is way better than Gunther. I mean, you see it. Everybody's using him right now. Most have got him at 5 star something, right? I just took him 5 star gold at this point, and I would take Ludwig over Gunther 100%, over Tech Gunther.
I see what's possible with the boost the black gems move and cutting out the leech gem move. I really like the leech gems though
Yeah,
with Kaiser. I really like the gain drain
yeah,
dynamic. Um so I'm probably gonna run him the less optimized build, the more
right.
fun build that I just enjoy the gameplay. But Kaiser's been a great free MLC superstar.
Yep. And here in a week or two, we'll start trying to predict who the next set of free and chase superstars are because we're a few weeks away from the end of this MLC. So you said this was
And
one
we're
of the best
knocking on the door
MLCs
of the Scopely anniversary.
anniversary. Yeah,
So it could be somebody really I don't know.
that's
Speculation.
always a big
Somebody really
month.
special. Could
Right.
be any predictions? I don't know.
I think we save that. That's another
Oh,
because
okay.
I need to think about that one.
Well, then
Because last time we did,
if you get it right, then we're in big trouble because they think it's a leak.
they're
And
gonna think it's yeah. Well, before we were officials, right? We guessed in Zombie Month in October, right? We guessed that there would be a Powerhouse Cody chase, and I said there was going to be Jay Uso Showboat as the free, and then it ended up being the Tusos
yeah,
Showboat
yeah,
at the end. We guessed Zombie Becky.
crazy.
Neither of us got Zombie Damien. That was the one that was most out, and neither of us called Zombie Liv. But we got 4 out of 6, and like down to what class they were almost, I
And we were
think.
really, at least one of us was really hoping for zombie Paul Heyman. That was so much fun.
That would be fun.
You
So you
think,
said
oh,
this is one of the best MLCs. You know what I would add is I think this Gemolition Derby that's going on right now is the best showdown they've done.
the
Granted, there was another
most fun.
botch. There was a botch, but
Yeah,
it's
but
fixed now.
Well, yeah, be like with the snowfall gyms,
Yeah,
like
there was a
that was it
coding error.
is irrelevant, but irrelevant to like, okay, we got the free solo
Right,
points for the snowfall gyms. Playing with a snowfall gym superstar would have been fun.
right.
So there was no
Difficult for
law.
some.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, you have Zombie Priest. Like
You got, yeah, it's true. You got
jamming.
Zombie
I mean,
Priest
like they
and
just
Wesley
gave
if you
us.
do his alternate build.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they just gave us a great Snowfall Gym
that's
superstar
true.
free that I bet most of the community has it 5-star on some level. Um,
Right. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
so
But
yeah,
the structure of this was so much better than,
yes,
I mean, a lot of people are saying Showdown is getting old. We've done
yeah.
too many of them. And I
We read
agree.
that in the chats when
Oh,
we're on
yeah.
stream. Like we'll showdown again, but like
Right.
we see that.
Right, right. But the structure of this one, it was super accessible. It was break gyms with, break this type of gym. Like, so there were some CSS requirements, but for the most part, it was wide open. It was just do these things. And then the faction style of it, where it was like the same things counted for the faction event, but they were considered bonus. So like it doesn't count against you if you're in a lower faction, but it does give you bonuses if you're in a more top faction. I love that structure. I
Yeah.
love the openness of you can use any character, but the limitation, instead of it being slot one must be a modern era powerhouse, it was okay, who's doing leech gems? And I don't know why I couldn't think of Ludwig Kaiser. I used the Hurricane at 5-star gold for all of that until somebody in the faction finally said, dude, why aren't you using Ludwig? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a
Well,
dumb butt.
is that because you've been doing Ludwig with the sub
Without,
move with the
I've been
sub
doing it
move?
with the bonus. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like Brutus. Like we did Hall of Fame Brutus, the preview last weekend. And sure, you could run him without that boost gem, black gem move, but like it bumps the damage up so high that like it's hard for me to justify his triple purple. It's hard for me to,
right.
and it's similar with this, like that bumps his gem damage up so much higher that it's just hard for me. Like
Sure.
I don't tend to go for, like you mentioned, wanting to go for what's fun. I tend to go for what works the best, even if I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
Because I think I like the leech gem damage build better for Kaiser, but I don't run it because it doesn't hit as hard.
Right.
Although there's a trade-off.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't hit as hard, but it does steal the health and it does
right.
need health. Um, you mentioned most of the intricacies of the Demolition Derby. One thing you didn't mention, and was probably my favorite part of it all, is that there were tours involved, and the tours got you
Mm,
special perks so that
yeah.
your superstars could spam the board with more
Right.
of the special gem than they were ever capable of being.
Right.
So it's almost like they gave you a plate, and it's like, here's
Yeah.
like 6 extra trap gems. And so
Right.
like Relentless KO, who's already making a lot of trap gems, and then I'm going to add even more, and I'm going to
Right.
have a boosted yellow MP from the Showdown perks, and I'm going to have boosted gem damage from the. I was like, this is great. I think I just hit like 14 trillion damage with KO.
Well,
It was
legitimately,
insane.
somebody posted a video, and if this is you, drop it in the comments section with a link to it of KO doing 1 billion damage.
Yeah.
1 billion in a tour,
Right.
right? That's not boss battle. That's a
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I posted 2 shorts. One is going to come out later today. One of them was Zombie Dragon hitting 24 million with one move set, and then the other was Zombie Dom again hitting like 40 something million, without the buffs I talked about. Like he's like it's insane. So instead of limiting and saying you have to use this, otherwise you can't play, it's opening it up to everybody. You can put anywhere, anyone you want, but certain superstars have big buffs.
Yeah.
And so you're going to gravitate toward. I loved the format of this. If this is what Showdown looks like going forward,
I want
I'm
more.
in.
Yeah, yeah. And so now we can use this event as a case study, if you
Yes.
will, or let's say a call to action, right?
Yes.
You loved Demolition Derby, which based on what I'm reading on Discord, different servers, based on what I'm seeing on different Facebook groups, the
Mm-hmm.
community was positively and overwhelmingly behind this event.
Right.
But what should we do? Lee, if I've got some, I want more of this. So this is the softball question I'm throwing you.
Yes,
I
thank
want
you.
more. This is good. Scopely got it right. They hit the home run.
Right.
What do I do to get more of this?
What
How
do I
how do I get
do?
more?
What do I do? Yeah. So here's the trick. We've talked about this before with negativity biases and human nature and that kind of stuff like that. But the tendency is when things aren't right, we raise our voice. Now, we don't do it
Yeah.
in the way that they hear it. We'll talk about that. But we raise our voice and we raise a stink. When things go well, we go, cool,
Next.
cool.
Liked it.
That's it, right?
That was
Right. So
fun.
there is a
Okay.
leadership practice that everybody should recognize, whether you're leading in a family, whether you're leading a business, or whether you just want to do better and lead up. Like maybe you're in a company and you're not the boss, but you are one who can have influence. It's celebrate what you want to see repeated. If you celebrate something, people go, oh, that's getting attention. I want to do that, right? So if you celebrate what you want to see repeated, now how do we do that? It's not empty
Celebrate good
vanity,
times.
right?
Come on. We sing the
Right.
song, celebrate,
You sing the song,
and
and
go
Cool
about
and the
our
Gang
day.
show up right here.
And then it's over. Right?
Right. No, you find a way, like you platform that, you find a way to say this was awesome. Let me tell you about it. And the more that gets heard, the more it's like, oh, well, they liked that. Let's do that, right?
More of
Whereas when
that.
it's mostly negative being posted or commented, not saying there isn't a place for that, and we'll get to that. You should be honest with your negative critiques as well.
Yeah.
But when it's mostly negative, what do? We go into a shell and we ignore it, right? That happens to us when somebody gives us, like, we internalize it, it eats us up inside, but we just go walls up, right? Get out of here. When we celebrate something, we go, oh, I want to do that again. But when we are negative, we put walls up and we end up repeating our mistakes, right? So in order to win, in order to play the game, when there is honestly something you want to celebrate it loudly and in a way that they'll hear it. So
Publicly.
Rusty, publicly, where do they, is it in your faction Discord chat that Scopely pays attention to what's going on?
Believe it or not, there are no Scopely eyes in your faction's Discord. So
Unless you're in a faction with, like, one of the Scopely
yeah,
guys that has to be in a lower faction because they can't play competitively.
yeah.
Yeah.
So um, to, before the big reveal, which is not much of a surprise to anybody, my grandmother, little Cajun woman from Louisiana, used to say, "You
I've
catch
met
more
her.
flies with honey than you do with vinegar." She used to always
Mm,
say that. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And I think about these things like the Demolition Derby, right? How do I capture the momentum? And so lo and behold, writing it in a Twitch chat is okay, but
yeah.
our
You should have a
forum,
place to vent.
yeah. Well, no, I would say even if you're like, hey, great Demolition Derby
Oh,
on
right.
main, Twitch chat, which is like,
Right.
oh, okay, so share it on the stream. But I think more helpful than that is on the forum, which if you go to www.champions.com, right, and you look to the left of the bar at the very
The
bottom,
hamburger menu.
yeah, and it says, does it say official portal, official forum, official champions forum? I
Yeah,
think is what it
forum.
says. So you click that, and you may not have ever clicked that before, but it takes you into a message board feature
Mm-hmm.
of the portal that you then will re-log into. At least I usually have to re-log in.
Yeah,
Use
that's annoying.
Scopely ID, use my Scopely ID to re-log in, and there'll be a discussion board for nearly every contest, every event, every
Yep.
superstar. So what I'm going to be looking for is the Demolition Derby discussion board so that I can go in and share my affinity for this event. I loved
Right.
it. Here's what I liked about it, right? I love that there was a faction contest simultaneously running with the showdown. I love that there were tours that were specifically to unlock showdown perks. I love that you let our favorite superstars be OP for a midweek event and
Right.
and you really juiced them up to see what they could do with absurd damage multipliers and gym generators, right? So if I just type all that, right, I'm giving constructive and specific feedback. So that's like measurable data, right? They can take that comment and they can say, here are the three things this person liked. Oh, we're seeing a reoccurring theme. Other people are posting that as well. And I can also say, now here's the three things I didn't like so much.
Right.
The tours had super rare CSS. And like I would have liked to have played in more of the tours with more of the roster that I had. Right?
Yeah.
That's see the difference between saying that versus the tour sucked, right? That that
Okay.
how do we that's such an objective criteria, right? How do we measure the tour sucked? We can't.
Right.
How do we measure? Okay, the player base said they would have liked more achievable contest superstars so that they could have played all three modes, easy, normal, hell mode, or easy, yeah, whatever it's what are the mode, but
Yeah.
so like that's measurable data. Like they can actually
Yeah.
take, and I don't know who they are. I don't know where they evaluate this data, but I know they read it.
Right.
I know they have mods on the forum that are constantly harvesting this data and sharing it around the think tank, wherever and whoever is in that. I don't know.
Right.
But I do know they want, I feel like they have asked consistently for this information from the community,
Yeah.
but it's so much easier. We have Lee and my faction, Toxic Mafia, currently in the top 20. We're recruiting if you want to join us. And like, so if you want to be our friend, you come to our
Just
faction.
saying. We
But
have like
just
2
saying,
spots open.
that's neither here nor there. But we have like our Discord has like a channel called what is it called?
Rant room.
Rant Room,
Right.
right? So if I get on Rant Room, the Scopely sucks, the tour sucks, the too much showdown, send, no one is ever gonna know how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
Other than the 300 people in our faction family. And
Right.
you need that outlet. Like it's perfectly okay to be upset and to need to vent somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you're venting to the right people. You're venting to people who know you better and care about you. Like when you're posting on the forum and all you do is this event sucks, do better. Okay.
And
So
you suck. Do
and you
better.
suck, right? Well, and, okay, so let's talk about some leadership stuff real quick. So one, like whenever we're doing like evaluations, whenever, like I just had my team like do a start, stop, and continue with me. I tell them all the time, like if you tell me, hey, you should really be doing this instead of this, like we would really do better if you did this, like that's constructive, that's going to help me. Now if you start the conversation with, hey, jerk face, I don't like you, okay, yeah, now I'm not going to pay attention.
Uh,
Now maybe what you say is going to fall on deaf ears, even if you're saying something that really needs to be heard, right? My wife and I talk about, so my wife and son are both autistic, and they pick up on patterns a lot more. And I also have a negativity bias. I try to be very positive, but it comes out more at home sometimes, where my wife will say, like, your base level emotion is frustration. And I feel that. And so you say something, but where the intent is good, but the impact is still not what you want it to be because your face looks angry and your tone isn't right and whatever. So impact versus intent. Your intent is you want this to be better. You want to make it a better community. You want the game to grow. You want to see these good changes. But when you start off with, hey, jerky McJerkface,
how dare you?
they shut down, right?
How
And
dare
I
you
would
tell me
too.
that? I've been doing this podcast with you for months now, and that's how you treat me. I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. I'm not sure I want to be even have my camera on in this moment. Okay. No, I was going
So
to
one
turn my
other
camera
thing.
off for dramatic appeal, and I thought, what if this affects the recording they were doing? I don't want to
Right.
do it
Then all
too
of a sudden
far.
it crashes and we have to redo this. We
Yeah,
we do these all take one. We've restarted one podcast, I think, and it was because of just like the beginning screwed up so bad, and it was like, forget it, let's just
yeah,
start over.
yeah,
But so one other thing, another leadership principle here. We've talked about it before, but let me highlight it. So William Vanderbloemen, great leadership resource. William Vanderbloemen talks about in his company, which by the way is in like I forget what it is, but top 100 places to work in the country
yeah,
frequently.
yeah.
They talk about their culture. And one of the things for their culture is solution side living. So, what is solution side living? So, let me give you an example. A few years ago, I had one of my team who, semi famous recording artist, in a band, stuff like that, that at one point had one of the top Kickstarters in the country. And they were on our team for a year. Like we had a, plan, like, hey, it's going to be a year, ended up being 2. And this person is phenomenal, like just an amazing person, amazing at what they do. One flaw that was a struggle was whenever they didn't like something, they would come to me as the leader and they would say, this is terrible. You need to fix it. And they would just like drop a turd on my desk, basically, like, here, fix this. I'm out. And then they would even say sometimes, like, well, I did my part. I said my thing. But it was just literally like, I'm just dropping this here. Now it's your responsibility. That is not solution side living. Solution side living is saying, hey, I see a problem and I want to be a part of the solution. So I'm not just going to bring to whoever, in this case, Scopely, right? I'm not just going to bring up a problem and say, you suck, your mother sucks, your father's terrible, and I hate your dog. And then, and
You're you're
then
you're a little too good at this, okay? You're really hurting my feelings today.
I
I'm the
told you
only
my
other
base
person
level's
on this call right
frustration,
now.
right?
Yeah,
But you don't start with that. But you also don't just go, you need to do better. This is a problem. There you go. I dropped it on your doorstep. I mean, that's better than at least being toxic, right? Or being
no,
angry and just
yeah.
vitriol.
Can I
But you
respond to
come up
that?
with a solution. Even
I'm
if it's
just
not the one they use, they
right.
see that as, oh, this is a person who's on the team, right? This is a person who cares about what's going on. This is a person that's working with instead of working against. And again, like if the goal is just, we want this fixed and want it better, if that's the objective, the path to getting there isn't to be dishonest. It's not to be hollow and just flowery and, oh, everything's wonderful. We love you and everything you do.
Right.
That's fake. But to be honest and say, hey, there is a problem. And by the way, here's a couple things I think that would help it. And
Can I,
maybe they come up with a solution that's different than yours, but you've been a part of the solution, not a part of the problem, right? So I went for a while there,
yeah.
Rusty.
So
I'm sorry I
here's what
offended you and
here's
your
what I'd love
mother.
to respond to is when money's involved,
Ooh,
oftentimes we feel like we can be more demanding, right? Let's just say,
right,
and guilty, like super guilty. If I've invested financially in something, I feel entitled to the full benefits of what I've bought, purchased, received. Like, like this was a contractual agreement, right? That I gave
right.
you my money in exchange for this. Let me just let me just share because we're talking about like constructive versus maybe destructive criticism. Um, if I go to a restaurant and I pay for a great meal, and let's say I have a bad experience,
Mm-hmm.
like like I have to remain civil. I have to treat the server with dignity.
Right,
I can't raise my voice in that restaurant. I mean, like
right.
legitimately will be right incarcerated for like
At
causing a
least thrown out.
picking a
You went
fight,
straight to jail
right?
time.
Yeah. So now let me take it a step further. I love more than anything. If you know me well, you know I love to go on cruises. Like
Oh,
my favorite way to vacation, to travel. Recently, I was off Champions Chat, took a little time off, went on a cruise, and you pay a lot of money to go on a cruise. Like you pay a lot,
yeah.
right? So,
First
but
world
here's the
problems.
thing: like you, just because you're on that boat doesn't mean you get to berate your room steward or your entertainer, right? For getting something maybe
Mm.
wrong. Like, and I see it in the cruise industry where like maybe the room steward moved the bag. And so then the person accuses them of going through their stuff. They're having a just an absolute nightmare of a confrontation with this little person whose sole job it is to spoil and make that cruiser feel special, right?
Yeah.
But it always comes back to, but I've paid a lot of money for this. Therefore, I get to treat you like garbage, right?
Mm.
All that to
Mm.
say, um, we wouldn't act the way we act in digital forums in person or in real life. I don't.
Some do.
I
Some do, but
Yes.
most
And
wouldn't.
when we see it, right, we're like,
Mm.
this is so, or it's recorded, it's posted on
And then
Reddit,
we have Karen videos and
public
Ken videos.
freakouts, right? Public
Yeah.
freakout Reddit, one of my favorite guilty pleasures. Um,
AITA? Yes, you are.
yeah. So all that to say is like I'm not trying to be like a Scopely Mark who's like defending right
Right.
blindly because but what I am saying is this is like do we think we can do digitally what we would never consider doing,
Hmm.
what we would never. I mean, could you imagine, right? That room steward, they're just trying to do a good job, but hey, they're overworked, small team, maybe
Yeah.
underpaid, and I come in boisterous and loud and aggressive
Right.
and make them contemplate their own mental health or their own,
Yep.
gosh, what we do to people, right? And then they go back to
Yeah.
their little quarters and start questioning, am I in the wrong work? Am I in the wrong life?
Yeah.
I gave, I'm away from my family. Most of our
Right.
stewards are from the Philippines, right? English is their
Yeah.
language. And I'm going, these guys that get on these boats, they treat the people in the service industry like less than human.
Mm.
They
Mm.
dehumanize because they
Yeah.
because they paid a little bit of money, right?
Right.
And so
Well,
all I'm saying is
yeah.
let's think through. There's a human on the other side of those screens. There's a real
Yeah.
person with a real life,
Right.
with a real heart and a real mind, maybe a real family, maybe real struggles, maybe,
Yep.
God forbid, what mental health issues. We don't know, right?
Right.
Maybe having the worst day, maybe behind on their bills,
Hmm.
and it's this is not just limited to the forum. I'm being a little preachy. In our factions, how do we talk to
Mm.
one another in game chat, right? How do we communicate? We don't know what's going on with the other 100 people in our faction, what they're, but those are real people. Those are
Mm.
real people. And we, in a game, we forget there's not just NPCs on the other side of the, non-player character. It's not just these
Right.
robotic AI people in our Discord or in our Line app or whatever it is that we're using, right? Facebook Messenger.
Hopefully Discord.
Yeah, but hopefully Discord. Like so, it's like I just think about the animosity and the tension
Right.
that is in the gaming community, or what we call the being salty, the salt factor
Right.
that's in the gaming community. And we hate being treated like that. We hate it.
Yeah.
We'll leave a faction so quick if someone does that to us, right? Just something to
Yeah.
think about today. Just Thursday
No, I
gatherings
agree.
with the old guys, the dads. Little dad talk from
Dad musing, kids,
yeah,
let's talk,
from
right?
Papa Rusty getting on his leather
Well,
recliner preaching a little bit.
yeah. You say we wouldn't do that in person or in reality, but the reality is like we saw that. I mean, it was more heightened during the pandemic, but I think back to 2020, we went to, or maybe it was 2021 because things were open a little bit more. But either way, we went to Marco's Pizza, right? So love Marco's Pizza, great place to be, and just went through to pick up an order. And I noticed there was a taped sign from management that said, we will not tolerate people spitting at, verbally abusing,
Oh,
and trying to grab and strike our employees. If anyone is caught doing this, they will be removed and the authorities will be called. That was just one instance. Then the McDonald's that sits in the, like where I'm at in this building, there's a McDonald's in our parking lot, or maybe we're in theirs, who knows. But the manager there, one of the shift managers, he talked about how he had somebody, because there was a miscommunication on the burger, and the burger wasn't done right. Like it was missing pickles or something like that. And but it was something that simple. They literally got out of their car and ran after him so that he had to hold the glass door, and they were pounding on it saying, "I'm going to get you for this.
For the
Pickles,
pickles. How dare
pickles."
you neglect my pickles?
Right. But I mean, so we are angry. We all need healing,
What?
right? But that
Oh,
that old golden proverb, treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And if you were on the other side, so let's say, well, I don't know what industry you're in. I mean, the hundreds that listen to this podcast,
let's
but let's
say,
say you're the guy at McDonald's, right? You're
oh,
the food service guy,
yeah.
and someone from Scopely comes through and you screw up their burger. You don't know what kind of day they've had or whatever. And do they then get to yell at you? Do they then get to say, this is the worst burger and you're the worst human and you're the, like
Where's my showdown contest, pickles?
pick showdown pickles, pickles. I need my pickles.
The snowfall gems aren't working in the ice cream machine. Sorry, I was
I
blending.
got a mental picture of that. It was great.
The ice cream machine's always broke. If
Always
you're,
broken. Yeah, maybe
yeah,
that's what it is,
I
right?
worked at McDonald's for 4+ years
Oh,
in high
wow.
school. I can tell you this: the ice cream machine was never broken. We were just cleaning it. We were servicing it each night. You have to drain all of the ice cream mix and put a sanitation
Right.
serum through it. So he say, "Yeah, it's out of
Yeah.
yeah, it's because that guy wants to go home and not have to clean that ice cream machine, and you don't want rotten dairy the next day." So
Right. You don't want dysentery. So let me just say this. Does this mean nobody gets to be negative? Does this mean nobody gets to say that's wrong and I need to call it out? No. It's just
right,
how you call it out. It's impact versus intent. Because what you really want is that thing to be fixed. What you really want is that thing to be fair.
right,
But the way you go about it with the vitriol is not going to accomplish what you want. And it's bringing someone else down to where you feel like you are. And the difference is, because we've all experienced this, right? Like you get to say that thing that makes you feel better and it lifts you up. You're like, I got that off my chest. You have no idea if that person that is on the other end of that keyboard now all of a sudden will be wrestling with that for the next several years. You have no idea if that'll add to their mental health struggles. You have no idea. Like there was a story of all places at Fantastic Sam's.
I used to get
That's
my
a
hair
haircutting
when I was
place.
a kid. I got my haircut there.
Yeah, I don't need
That's
it as much anymore.
yeah, a lot
But
less to cut these days.
yeah, that's right. But Fantastic Sam. So I was waiting for a haircut, and they had a testimonial on their shelf, on their like counter or whatever, and it was a true story, purported as, of a woman who happened to be a larger woman. That was part of the story they shared, and she had been made fun of and just like
Oh,
berated her whole life
seriously?
for her size, right? Size shaming.
Hey, let me
And
just say, shout out to all my plus size people. Bigger heart, more to love. We love you. I love you. I'm one of you. So,
nice. Nice. But the story was she was going to unalive herself. That was the plan she had, but she wanted to feel pretty one time before she did. And so she went into this Fantastic Sam's, and I guess it was the right hairdresser, the right day, whatever, but this hairdresser just kept complimenting her how great her hair was, how beautiful she looked that day, how blah blah. And she literally saved this woman's life. Now, she had no idea that she did, right? All she did was her job well with a good attitude. She probably had a crap day. She had people who, kids wouldn't stay still and she cut their hair wrong, had to shave their heads, and then the mom and dad were yelling at them and all that. But this woman comes in and all she did was be a kind human being to her and just say, "You're so beautiful. Like your hair is awesome. I wish I had your hair." And this woman did not do something that would have
hmm,
impacted not
thankful.
only her, but many others.
Wow. What a tremendous impact.
Yeah.
In a story of kindness in a place she probably didn't expect to receive it, that was
Yeah.
life altering for her. I mean, that's
Right.
yeah. We're like, I know maybe if you're out there listening, like, guys, come on, it's just a forum. Like, lay off.
Right.
Like, whoa, our words have a weight to them.
Mm.
and maybe it's not maybe the forum's not the big deal. Uh,
Yeah.
maybe the rub in your faction is though, or maybe a roommate situation or a spouse. My wife called me a grump last night, and I was thinking of like the weight of my words,
Right.
just even my facial expressions. Like we forget people are picking up and interpreting every signal we send out. If
That's right.
it's verbal, if it's not nonverbal, if it's digital, it's hard to infer those tones. It's hard to
Yeah.
infer the heart behind what you're saying. And so
Yeah.
err on the side of a funny GIF. I wish we could upload GIFs to the forum. It's like just joking.
Right. So
Anyway,
there are things that need fixed. There are things we need to talk about that need to be improved, but
works.
do it with a level of humanity and kindness. And whether it's the forum or your faction chat or your text message thread or that customer who you just like, oh, I want to beat that person down, call him a meatwad, whatever it is. So here's something. So Dr. Bill Senyard, who's done some research, he said every single human being, it's a psychology study, every single human being is looking for three things: significance, security, and belonging. Everything that we do ties to one of those three things, right? We're looking for significance, security, and belonging, right? And so when we don't feel those things, we tend to lash out. But like when someone in your faction, lashes out at you, that's a hit to your significance, that's a hit to your security, that's a hit to your belonging. No wonder we battle against each other, right? No matter we get mad, no matter no wonder we lash out at each other. But if you can recognize that in other people, what's that person looking for today? They're looking for significance, security, and belonging. If they feel like, you know what, you don't know me from the other guy across the street, but you just treated me like maybe I belong. Like maybe we don't have to be best friends, but maybe we could be cordial to each other. That hits one of those deep psychological needs. That's your belonging. If you tell someone like, hey, you don't realize this, but you make a bigger impact than you think you do. You matter. That hits your significance button right there, right? And then your security, like, yeah, what is insecurity but saying, I'm going to burn everything down? Well, now you're creating this, insecure feeling that goes out. And when those get triggered, we tend to get triggered, right? So we talked a lot about psychology today. That's not what I meant to do, but
Well, I
that's what
think
it
what
is.
we might title this episode is just the importance of communication. I don't know, because we've talked
Mm,
about so many different things, but I could see that the
mm.
importance of communication in this game, and how to be an asset with your communication, how to be solution
Instead of
minded. Yeah,
something minus a few of those
just
letters.
minus the ET. Well, Lee, we've got a couple of weeks to go in this MLC, so we'll stay updated. We want your voice to be heard on
Yes,
the Champions forum. And why don't you even tell them, say I was listening to Champions Chat, and they suggested that I come and share my ideas,
that's right.
my constructive feedback here, right?
See, we're trying to have significance by you mentioning us and belonging right
That'd
there,
be super
so
cool. Yeah, we want to keep doing this. We want to stay content creators, especially when we start stirring the pot in some controversial issues, like
yeah,
calling
because
our listenership to both join our faction and share on the on the forum.
and
Um,
just to be clear, we're not shills for this. Rusty
no,
famously went on a huge rant against some of the stuff Scopely did before, but we try to do it in a constructive manner, right?
yeah,
You're
and I did
laughing.
offer. I thought I offered like I thought I offered some specific next steps that
Yeah,
they could do next time there's a glitch in the game or some bad coding. And I thought I was intelligent, or at least I eloquently, there was emotion for sure,
yeah,
angry,
and that's okay.
so angry. And
Not
yet,
saying cut out your heart.
yeah, I had to look beyond the anger to get a few points of action into that forum post, which I did.
Yeah.
And really, I took my rant from our show, I rewatched it, and I typed out like some of the more intelligent things I said. And that's what I posted on the forum
Oh,
without all
well,
of
that's
the
awesome.
volume. the energy and the red face and all that stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
I use that GIF for certain things where you're just like, I wasn't a GIF, it was a screen grab or whatever. Title this.
yeah,
Anyway, so some things coming up for our content before
yeah.
we move on. One, Gunther's going to come after me for calling him the worst tech of the three,
I
and
just
his
had a baby.
cronies are
What are
so
you
much better.
expecting, man? Yeah,
That's right. And
Gunther is the new Brock Lesnar. If you've been listening a long
uh-oh. I'm more afraid of Gunther than Brock Lesnar. I mean,
time.
I don't know.
You're a long
Anyway,
time listener. Yeah, we're gonna start treating Gunther like we did Brock, like I did Brock for a while.
except for I legitimately love Gunther, like in the WWE metaverse of
Yeah,
things.
I got
But
plenty
so
of.
stuff coming up for us. We're gonna start making sure that every day we have, or at least most days, have at least one 3-minute move set and then one other video coming out. We try to do 2 a day. I'm working on doing some shorts. We are talking about how we can do more blog reads because like when we create a character preview, just talk about like celebrate what you want to see repeated, right? We see the views on us doing a blog breakdown as what we're going to start calling it, which I love. Rusty had a great idea with that. Thank you.
Because we don't just
These
want to read the
blog
blog
break,
to you. We want to help you understand it. We want to help you
yeah,
interpret what's in the blog. Break it down for.
right.
And that was from DX. Break it down.
Oh, I like how we each did half of the chop.
My poor
um,
dog.
but those get more views than even our character previews. So we are going to do character previews. What I'm thinking, and you guys can give us some feedback in the comment section here, is our 3-minute move sets get far more views than our 27-minute previews. And I get that, right? That's
Sure.
why we started doing the 3-minute move sets. So I'm actually going to start by trying every time we have a new weekend character, I'm going to try to record a short and release that first if I'm not great at shorts, but we'll see. But at the very least, I'm going to release the 3-minute move set first as a teaser.
Oh,
So then you get a taste of the character. And if you want to then watch the full preview, we'll have a 20-minute preview. Our goal is to do 15-ish minutes on the actual character preview and about 10 minutes of Rusty and I giving, like we talked about, not just information, but interpretation. So a weekly blog, we're probably not going to be able to do all of them because we both have jobs, we both have
right.
families. I'm training for my second degree. Like we have stuff going on, right?
Lee is going to
But
be
at
a
least that Thursday
master of
blog.
martial arts soon. He's going to be a what degree black belt are you?
I'll be a second. I'm a first degree. I'll be a second degree.
Black belt. I have a black belt also. Did you know that? It
Yeah.
it's reversible. It can also be a brown belt. I can wear it with any color suit that I need to. So
Nice.
it has a gold
Nice.
buckle on it. Yeah.
Mine has my name embossed in gold in English and Korean, so that's nice. But anyway,
I don't want to
we
mess with
got
this guy. I don't
we
want
got
to poke him.
sidetracked. We got sidetracked.
What if the
But yeah, so
unofficially
that's
read
what we're
your
gonna start
negative
looking
comment
for.
in the forum had a second degree black belt and he was coming to
Oh,
judo
believe me,
chop
there's
you.
people watching this going, I could take him. We're gonna get comments. I could take him.
You
You
know,
know?
Lee, many have asked what would happen if you and I were to tie up in a physical matchup, and I tell them he's not in my weight class. I only wrestle
Oh,
the heavyweights. So
there you go. There you go. All right, I think that's good for this part. Let's talk some WWE TV, Rusty. What do you got for us?
the road to Royal Rumble. We talked a lot about Royal Rumble basically since the return of CM Punk, the surprise return of Punk.
I
We've
called it.
asked what it meant. Lee posed a great question shortly before we went on today, saying, "Is this the best build to the Royal Rumble of all time?" Lee, do you have
What
an
do you
answer
think?
to your own question?
Yeah, well, first, what do you think in the comments section below, right? We separate this video out from the WWE Champions game, which, by the way, if you're watching this because you love WWE TV, check out the WWE Champions game. Legitimately the best wrestling game
Way better than
ever,
the other games
ever.
you might see a commercial for during WWE TV. Go on
Yes,
the App Store and
agreed.
search for WWE Champions. Yeah.
Let's start a war. Come at us, right? No. So, so WWE TV, so Road to WrestleMania or Road to Royal Rumble, which by the way, Royal Rumble is my favorite event every year.
Oh yeah.
Way more than I love WrestleMania, but Royal Rumble is my favorite. I can't remember a year in recent memory where they've built up a better set of possibilities, right? Because in
That's
the
right.
last set of TV, we had, like, for example, we were having a conversation, we might have that here in a moment, of who do we think the women's Royal Rumble winner is going to be? And basically it was like, well, it's Bailey, right? Or who else? Like, okay, if
Or
it's going to be
Naya,
EO,
or is it Naya,
Naya,
or is it Bailey?
right, on this
Or
side,
is
and
it
it
my
felt
women's Royal Rumble winner prediction is neither of them? So
just neither, just anybody
you
else.
want it now? No, I can tell you now.
Oh, no. Well, we could save it to build the intrigue for a
Okay.
moment, right? Okay. But then in one segment on Raw, they had Becky come out and confront Rhea, and all of a sudden, like, I had people like my buddy Graham was texting me like, so Becky's got to win the Royal Rumble, right? But then they'll do something the next time. It's like, oh, it's got to be this person. And on the men's side, you've got two stories, the never-ending story of Cody Rhodes. You've got the 10-year-long story of CM Punk. You've got the unbelievable title reign of the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. You've got the wild card where Brock Lesnar can come back and decide he wants to win whatever event, and he just
And
does.
that's why I
You've got
hated
what if
Stinky
Big E
Cuts.
comes back? Like, you've got so many stories, and they're playing into them, right? You saw Cody have an interview or have a segment with Drew McIntyre. You saw Cody have a segment with CM Punk, and they're building that up on there. You saw Drew McIntyre engage with Damian Priest. You saw Damian Priest call out Seth. You saw Jinder Mahal show up and show that he maybe was better than we actually imagined him to be. Like, there are so many where if any of them win, whereas last year, just being honest, one, we knew Cody Rhodes was coming back anyway.
Felt like a
But
lot.
but two, as soon as they announced he was coming back, it was like, well, Cody's gonna win, right? Like, I'm very
Yeah.
glad Gunther got to hang that long, but there was no question in my
Cody won
mind.
the Rumble in the worst fashion possible, right? When you're number 30. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, come on. Like the Hogan late run in, it's a shoe in. Like,
Yeah.
that's the worst. Like,
Right.
let him climb the hill, you know, let him
Right.
let him have a Ric Flair or a HBK, any of those memorable Royal Rumble performances where you the Iron Man, right? The Stu
Right.
Austin back-to-back wins were both surprise wins, and he went the
Right.
distance, and it was great. It was so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could have any of that. Plus, you talk about surprises. Like, I was watching the one of the newer episodes of This Is Awesome with Greg Miller, and it was about action figures. They had Matt Cardona on there, formerly Zack Ryder in
Yeah.
WWE,
Why?
talking about his wrestling collection. He's
Yeah.
not in the company, as far as
Right.
we know, but he is a world champion from other companies. WWE didn't give him that placement, others did. What if and his significant other, Chelsea Green, is in the company?
He's so
What
good.
if Matt Cardona comes back and wins the whole thing? What if CM Punk does? And it's almost even more interesting to me this year. What if this person doesn't win than even who does win? Which that's when you know they've built it up well.
Yeah.
Like, normally it's just like, well, that person's going to win. But now you're like, oh my gosh, what if CM Punk doesn't win? What if Cody Rhodes doesn't win? What if Gunther doesn't? Like, where do we go from there? And it creates intriguing possibilities. What
Hmm.
about you, Rusty? You remember a better build to the Royal
No,
Rumble
this
in
is a
recent
great
memory?
build. This is one of the best builds, and it feels foolproof where some of the surprise return winners have felt like fool's gold, and we didn't want to see them win it. We didn't want to see them go on to Mania. We just felt
Right.
like this. So this is just they're the oh gosh, the Roman win, the Roman, and then
That
they
Roman win.
booed so badly. They're like last minute, send out the Rock to like raise his
Right.
hand and help put him over, and it just was like,
Talk
oh,
about visual facial language. The Rock's
so
face is you
weird. It was
like,
so weird. Like, why are you booing my cousin? He's a good guy.
right.
Yeah. So
The
we're gonna
Rock. What
see.
if The Rock wins?
It would be great. We're going to see something intriguing happen this year.
Yeah.
Something of high story value. Uh,
Yeah.
it's going to be thought out. It's going to be reflective of Hunter's first Rumble winner being the head of creative. It's going to be
Mm,
his first Mania without Mr. McMahon, and he's going to be head of creative, right? So we're going to really see what are you capable of, Paul Levesque?
right.
We know you can do it. We've seen flashes of brilliance all through NXT Black and Gold, and we believe that same level of business acumen and fan appeasement of what they
Mm,
want to see as well. There's going to be a cross sectionality, and we're going to see a great Rumble, and we're going to see a great Mania. But here's my pick for the Women's Royal Rumble winner. I believe it's going to be Bailey. Bailey
oh,
is coming for EO, and that is going to be the Rumble match winner, and that's going to be the WrestleMania matchup. We're going to see Damage Control implode and
yeah.
become Bailey's going to become Superface.
Hugga Bailey.
And I hope I'll grow that side pony out before Mania. Let it go. She was probably the greatest female babyface ever when she was Huggable Bailey. Listen, as a guy who has daughters, they
Oh,
like they
daughters.
came alive when her music hit and her inflatables went up and she came to the ring. She did something for little girls that like I don't know that
Yeah,
anyone else in the business has
right,
ever done, right? And
right.
she generated a whole new generation of female fan interest. Um, so she's
True.
she's on the Mount Rushmore of female talent as far as I'm considered, even though she may not be one of the more popular first
Right.
female horsemen. She's far outlived the fourth female horseman that is MIA. All that
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I
What
think it's going to
if?
be Bailey. So then that puts Becky almost winning the Rumble, but not winning the Rumble, and
Okay.
and then Becky goes on to Elimination Chamber probably and has a big win there. And we see Becky and Rhea and the other female main event, and we see EO's I don't know, like drop that belt to Bailey at Mania, and it's going to be a Mania moment that is
Mm,
so exciting and so special and so wonderful. That's what I think.
I love it. I'm not on the Bailey train. You know who Bailey, Hugga Bailey reminded me of with the side ponytail like that? Maybe this is what she was going for. But the
Napoleon
girl off
Dynamite's
Napoleon
girlfriend.
Dynamite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Do you drink
do you
2%
drink
because you think you're fat?
you're fat because you're
Because
not. You
you
can
don't
drink whole
have to.
milk if you wanted to. That's
Uh,
exactly who she reminded me of. Maybe that's what stuck in my mind, and I was just like, I don't know. I would say she is my least favorite horsewoman is Charlotte. We know that. Charlotte's not my
yeah,
favorite by any means,
yeah.
but Becky is my,
Of course.
yeah, in terms of storytelling, I
Becky's my
think they need,
favorite female talent ever, just for the
yeah,
record.
she's in my top five of any,
She's number one.
yeah,
Even
ever.
intergender, she'd
That's what I
be
mean.
three. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever gender class you want to be in there for, Becky, I think is in the top five. And that's saying because that's like your Stings, your Hogan Flairs, those conversations, Undertakers, like those are the conversations. Austin Rock, I think Becky's up there. For me, I like Becky better than Stone Cold, hands down. I sat through the Attitude Era. I bet, up there with The Rock. Shawn Michaels, I think I prefer. But anyway,
I'm a
I
huge
think
Michaels mark. I think Becky is the female Shawn Michaels.
interesting.
That's my comparison to
Okay.
male talent. Yeah,
I'll take that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the focus needs to be on the SmackDown title. Whoever wins, and it might be Bailey, I think the focus needs to be on the SmackDown title for that because Rhea could literally just say, "I'm here," and that's it. Like, boom, she has that clout. EO, not that she's not as powerful a champion, but that's not the storyline way that she does things. Where Rhea just shows up and says, "I'm taking this, it's mine." EO needs that build in the story, so I'd be fine with Bailey. I'd be fine with the fourth horsewoman showing back up and it being a three-way or something along those lines, so that neither Bailey or EO has to eat the pin. Of course, they wouldn't have the returning person eat the pin. I don't know. Anyway, it creates all these possibilities, and that's
True.
what this Rumble is so rife with that I've just
Yeah.
not seen in the past few years.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it has made Raw more interesting. It has made SmackDown more interesting. It has made
Yeah.
NXT more interesting
Yeah.
because we're seeing way more call-ups and main roster debuts without a draft,
Yeah.
without a Rumble
Drafts are
surprise
stupid.
appearance.
Right.
Dragon Lee being a great example. Carmelo Hayes being a great example
Yeah.
of like they're just main roster kind of now. Like if they want
Yeah.
to be, they're there. Um, really cool. This is going to be a really special year, I think, for
I think so too.
wrestling. I really do. Yeah.
I think so too. And there's rumors, although I think they're totally unfounded, and we can't, with our contractual agreements, can't talk about the other company. But there's rumors
There
that
is actually, I've
the
heard there is
former
no other company. Did you know that?
there is no other. That's right.
It's like the spoon in the Matrix, you know?
There is no spoon. Well, the former world champion from another uh, universe, if they
Yeah.
existed, is said that maybe that person would show up. What if? I don't know this. I'm not dabbling in contract statuses over here,
No,
right?
no.
But there's so much like the possibility are endless. Now the trick will be make that matter going into Mania. And I think the way Hunter has booked things, it's consistent, right? I think in the past there was a little bit of squirrel, like, oh, we were going this way, but oh, now we're going this way. Like even CM Punk coming back, even whatever's going on with Drew McIntyre, even those things happening, even if this other mystery horsewoman were to show back up in the company, even if Matt Cardona was not just a surprise guest on This Is Awesome, I think that there's a plan and they're sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
But I think after, like, as we get to Mania and after, the goal should be, remember the Attitude era where you had like 17 stories going at once? And it
Yeah.
was like, oh, now we're talking about the APA. Oh, now Mick Foley's over here as commissioner. Oh, now we've got Stone Cold and he was the main attraction, but you almost wanted to see what Ty and Ty, of all people, were doing. And now you've kind of got that feel again,
Yeah.
right?
So here's another bold women's Rumble take. We will see Jade Cargill make her debut, and it will
Mm,
be in Kane-like fashion. She will eliminate
11 women.
potentially double-digit women.
Mm, mm.
I think,
But not win.
but not win. No, and
Not win.
not even go Final Four. Like it'll be,
Right.
she'll probably be like number 3 and get eliminated around number 24.
Mm,
I think toss out potentially double-digit women.
right. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I hope so.
I
They
could see
they
her
definitely need to
eliminate
build
Nia
her.
Jax. I could see like her being the running clothesline to put Nia over.
Yeah. Or she like body slams her or something. Like it's a Hogan Andre moment
Yeah,
for Jade Cargill.
I could see it. Like it would make so much sense to me, and
Yeah.
more interesting than any return of a female horsewoman. Far more
Right.
interesting.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the only other Rumble I think that I've been this interested in, and it wasn't actually the lead up to the Rumble, it was what happened during, was unfortunately 2020s, before the shutdowns, before everything happened. Do you remember the running storyline for that Rumble?
Hmm.
Brock Lesnar enters early and just yeets every person who comes in over. So the first
Oh
half of
yeah.
the Rumble was
Yeah.
literally just Brock standing in the ring going,
Yeah. Yeah. That
right.
was
And
yeah.
you just got this like, get him out. And so when Drew McIntyre came in, and when him and Ricochet, when Drew McIntyre eliminated, like it was a made man scenario, right? And
Yeah.
that's what this feels like. It feels like they're making several people, like I could see a Bronson Reed being the Iron Man
Oh
in the
yeah.
Rumble and getting a big push. I could see
Sure.
Gunther showing up and just dominate, like, oh, so good. And the ladies, like I said, we've got lots of opportunities. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I feel like I'm able to see a little more clearly what's going on in the female division, but I like the men's division. I have just speculation. I have no
Yeah.
hot takes. Literally anything could happen, and it would
Yeah.
be great. anything that did happen.
Yeah. There's 6 scenarios where a different person wins the Royal Rumble men's, and I'm ecstatic. Like that hasn't happened in a long time.
I don't think it'll be Cody. As much as I love Cody, I don't think it'll be Cody winning that Rumble.
If they don't finish that story, like legitimately, he's going to be one of those. Remember when they just when Cody Rhodes had so much potential and never made it like that?
I think fans would revolt if he won 2 in a row. I think
Yeah.
you feel 2 Roman Reigns made man,
Mm,
forcey, like,
mm,
and it would have to be the only way it would work is if it was an Iron Man type storyline.
that's where I
Cody
was going to
pulls
go with it.
#1. The deck is stacked against him. He leaves on a stretcher mid-match. Something where it's just like overcoming insurmountable odds. Nakamura hospitalizes him. He comes back, at the very end. Yeah,
Right.
it'd be insane. It would be insane. I would love it, but I would also think people that don't like Cody are not going to like this.
I mean, he's one of their top merch sellers. Like I mean, we said it last year. The iron is hot. If they don't strike it, it's going to screw things up. But it's more true this year than it was last year. And he doesn't have to have a long title reign, but he needs to get the title, and then we can take it off of him and do something else.
Yeah, it's all about the hero's journey, and
Right.
it has to the battle and the journey has to feel real and believable, and it has to be a struggle, and the sweeter the victory when the hero does accomplish the task. Um, Part of me thinks Cody loves the business so much that he never gets the belt, and he says,
Mm,
In the fashion of my father, I will
mm,
never hold this gold." As a homage, who am I to do what he could not do? Like,
mm.
part of me could see him doing that and just going like,
Oh.
I don't need a title to be champion. I don't
Oof.
need I and my dad never had it, and I won't either.
Mm.
And like, whoa, that would be
Maybe. I just if he doesn't win it, I see him dropping down the card because you got your LA Knight. They've got a filler feud for LA Knight going. You got your CM
yeah.
Punks. You've got Drew McIntyre. I mean, like this is the most stacked it's been since the 1980s.
Well,
I
Cody
think.
held that tag team gold for a little while, and we did.
Yeah.
I was very surprised they didn't do like a US title run or something,
Yeah.
just like the old US Open Challenge. Like that would have been a great thing for Cody in 2023. Like that would have been
Yeah.
really that would have created, I think, a lot of new Cody fans. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people that didn't care about the indies or the family connection. Like they would have liked him for him, right? They would have just liked him. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
well,
Well, I
take it
think
out, Lee.
yeah, I was gonna say I think that's what we got for this week. So for all those who are watching both parts of the podcast, we so appreciate you. If you just watch the WWE only portion of it, check out Champions, WWE Champions on mobile. It is legitimately our favorite game. We obviously like it enough that we became official content creators for it. We lucked into that. Yeah, anyway. And we are honored to be a part of this community. We love you guys. We want to see this community thrive. And so hopefully you have some constructive thought on this video and what's going on in the game. Put it where we told you to and just walk in it. Just be good to one another. We'll see you next time.